Essays on Untouchables and Untouchability Social by Babasaheb Ambedkar. Chapter 1, Part 4. It is true that as for the past, the state of degradation has been the common fate of all the three categories of the 79.5 millions of India's population. But it cannot be said that their future destiny will also be common to them. That is because although their condition is apparently similar, their position is essentially different. The first thing to note is that the primitive tribes and the criminal tribes are not afflicted by this system of untouchability. To a Hindu, they do not cause pollution. Indeed, these primitive and criminal tribes observe untouchability towards the untouchables. The situation is full of humor when one sees members of these primitive tribes and criminal tribes feeling that they would be polluted if they would touch an untouchable. They are poor, filthy, superstitious, ignorant, far more than the untouchables, yet they pride themselves as socially superior to them. This, of course, is the result of the contagion which they have gained from the Hindus. But the point to note is that the Hindu does not treat them as untouchable. That is an advantage which they have over the untouchables and which makes their future assured. If the primitive tribes have no opportunities for advancement, it is because they choose to live in isolation. But once they come out of their forest recesses and take part in civilization, there is nothing that will stand in their way. Similarly, the criminal tribes have their future assured. Government has established settlements where these criminal tribes are kept and taught useful trades. There is no doubt that in a very short time they will be completely weaned from their vicious habits. The case of the untouchables stands on quite a different footing altogether. Their disabilities are imposed upon them. Their isolation is really segregation which is enforced upon them. The problem of the untouchable is different from the problem of the primitive tribe because in their case the evils of segregation are aggravated by the fact of untouchability, and the result is that while in the case of the primitive tribe the problem is due to geographical isolation combined with lack of desire to avail themselves of the opportunities for betterment, in the case of the untouchable the problem is due to positive denial of opportunities. There does not seem to be much hope for the emancipation of the untouchables. At any rate, their emancipation is far more problematical and distant than the emancipation of primitive tribes. The problem of the slaves was one of denial of political or economic rights. If the problem of the untouchables was one of denial of political and economic rights, it could be solved by legal and constitutional methods. The denial of political and economic rights is the result of the social psychology of the Hindus. The problem of the untouchables, therefore, arises directly out of the social behavior of the Hindus. Untouchability will vanish only when Hindus will change their mentality. The problem is how to make the Hindus unlearn their way of life. It is no small matter to make a whole nation to give up its accustomed way of life. Besides, the way of the Hindu and the way of life of the Hindus are accustomed to is a way which is sanctified by their religion, at any rate, they believe it to be so. To change their way of life is almost to change their religion. How can this happen? Only when it is realized that what is tragedy for the untouchables is the crime of the Hindus. How long shall the untouchables have to wait for this revolution in the religious psychology of the Hindus? Let those who have a gift for prophecy answer. In the meantime, it would be desirable to describe their condition and to state the problems which they and their friends have to face. The end.